Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Today we're installing a sump pump and a footer pipe in a very tight crawl space, as you can see. It's way back in the back, and we've got to crawl all the way back and around the sewer to get over to the front wall. And what's happening here is that there is a duct, the air conditioning duct. It's taking on water basically. So we've got to get that water out of the crawl space so that it doesn't fill up the duct. The homeowner's been pumping out the duct every morning for a long time. So we're going to see what we can do. Again, you can see there is no headroom here at all. Hopefully we're able to use our little 5-inch spade and be able to dig. You can see it's soft, but there's just no leverage for us to really get down and dig. So we're going to see what we can do. Let's go ahead and crawl back there. Okay, so we're back here by the air conditioning duct, and that is the problem, and it fills up with water. So we've started to dig the sump pit. You can kind of see here. Remember, this is a tough dig. I'm just laying on my belly, but I promise you, you can do this if you try. And sometimes you just use your hand to pull out that dirt. Use your shovel to break it free and pull it out. Okay, so you can see I've started the sump pit. We're down there pretty good. And there's the reason that we're doing it. That's the air conditioning duct. That's the box, the airflow. And you can see how deep that thing goes down into the soil. So we need to get a sump pump down below that, surround that. It's going to have to be a modified pit because you can see here's the joist, and like I said, there's only about a foot of room in here. So trying to get a pit in here is going to be the real problem. But then we'll plumb that. You can see these condensation lines. They're going to run all the way back. You can see that little light back there. That's a vent, a crawl space vent. We're going to plumb the discharge of the pump out through that wall so that it discharges outside. And what it'll do is going to remove all the water that builds up. You can see those piles of dirt. That's from the duct. They dug it out and it's laying on the ground. So we've got to get that water to flow over here to the sump basin, and the sump pump will lift it up and take it out. So the first thing I need to do is actually dig a trough just to get in there. And it's not easy, but we just got to have room to lay on our belly. So I'm going to move some area here. It's going to be kind of like a big slug, a big worm that we're going to lay in this little trough, a little swell, to get back to that point. Hopefully you can see this. It's hard to see. But basically you can't even tell. But I'm going to lay down in this trough, and you can see there's the original soil. It comes down. I can lay in that trough and get back to that big mound back there. So let's try that. So basically I'm trenching right along this air handler, okay? And I've been pulling dirt up here, and then I've got to scrape it back out of the way because you can see there's no room to move down here. And there's a wall right here. So we're scooting back. And we move this light a little bit over to here. There's a phone cable here. But now I'm just going to pull this dirt out of the way so that I can put more dirt on that same spot. And yeah, it's a very slow process. Luckily, this is really soft. I broke it all up with a shovel, but we just don't have any room to move. Just enough to get through. Remember, I dug this section out once just to get back to that spot. So now I'm just pushing it over here, and there's a wall in front of me, so I have to come back far enough to get the soil around the wall and get it up out of the way. Okay, I think we're good there. I've already dug all the way around the air handler to the sump basin on that side, so we should be able to continue on down. But as you can see, just to get where the camera is, it takes a lot of effort just to get this far. Now we're going to move the light up, and let me show you what we're doing over here. So you can see this is the bottom of the air handler. It comes around, and there's the sump basin. We'll tie right into that at that level. We'll just drill a hole right through there with a 4-inch hole saw. And we've got to go all the way back along that duct. And there's a lot of debris in the way. Okay, so I went all the way back to where this duct turns. I don't know if you can see back there, but it turns, and I can't get any further. And we've dug down a trench down below the bottom of the duct. And we're going to lay a perforated pipe with fabric around it. Still have a little bit more excavation to do right here alongside the air handler, where it goes over to the sump pit. If you can see that black plastic pit over there, and it'll discharge into there, and then of course you can see the PVC waiting to be hung on those rafters, and we'll go all the way out through the back wall. But this was a tight little dig. I mean, you can see the joist. You see I had to move the mound that was here, and it created a whole new mound just from putting, digging the trench. And things like this is the old, see that sheet metal? That is the old duct work, and they just buried it. And there's no way that I can even budge it. I can't move it. They had the floor out. They should have taken it out. There was blocks, and of course where they went through the wall back there, all that debris was, in the ground as well. We've got, all this ready for pipe and material to come back. We've got it excavated, all the way down below the bottom of this air handler right here. And our trench runs clear around to the sump pump, and it runs all the way back as far as I can get along that duct. Again, something you can do yourself, and this is a tough job, but only because there's no room. Digging is really simple, and getting your materials back here, yeah, that takes some time, but save tens of thousands. And hopefully you understand why we're doing it. If you have that problem where your duct work has been laid basically just on top of the ground, and as groundwater has been rising, it's been finding a way into the duct. And of course, here's the air handler. This is the air handler, and it's just full of water. So, and after the hurricane, it was okay. Really bad. So now we're going to hang this discharge pipe. Let's let that camera run, if it'll focus on me here. And what we're using is PVC strapping material and some screws to hold it up to the joist. So we're just going to strap it around the pipe. I already put one in there. You can also use, these are pipe hangers, and if you can see it, it just snaps onto the pipe and screws right up to the joist. We might use those, but I like using these because things are movable. When we put the pump in there, we need to be able to move that pipe back and forth. So, all right, let's keep on going. I'm gonna turn this light around and bring my materials back with me as I go backwards. I need a couple of couplings and my primer and my glue. I wonder where the glue is. Guess we don't have the glue yet. Ah, here it is. But can we open it? Yeah, good. we're going to bring all those things back at the same time. Again, kind of slow going, as you can see, but we'll get it. Remember, these are 10-foot sections of PVC. Ooh, I'm pulling on the light cord. We don't want that to happen. Oops. Need our scissors. Now I'm just going to cut another piece off. Plenty long enough. I'm going to get a set screw out of this box. We don't want to lose things here, so we try to keep everything contained. And I'm going to go ahead and hang another piece right here. I'm just hanging it loosely. We could come back and tighten it up if needed. But for right now, we just need to get it up off the ground. Perfect. It's a little slow going until you get the screw set. So now we're ready to put on a coupling. I don't even know if you can see me in that camera or even hear me, but we're trying. Can you even see me? So now we're going to put our coupling on. Need to clean off these pipes. Start with a little bit of primer. Guess we're just using the glue. So that's one piece. Now we got 3 more to do. Okay, so there's our 1.5 inch discharge going through the foundation wall. It comes out on the other side. What I did was I used my Bosch hammer drill with a 2-inch diamond core bit, and we drill from the outside in, and we stuff this through there. It's perfect fit, real tight, very tight fit. And you can see it runs, if I can get to it, and you can see the 1.5 inch pipe runs all the way over to the sump pit. And we've secured it, up to the top with some joist hangers, pipe hanger, and nice and secure. So now we're ready to plumb the pump. But what I'm doing right now is, let me crawl back around, is I'm bringing in this perforated pipe with a sock around it. It's a fabric, and of course it lets water come in, and the pipe is perforated. So we're going to lay that underneath of the duct in that trench I dug earlier on. So let's get that back there now. So you can see this water just dripping out of this duct, and we're well below, see my hand, we're well below the bottom of the air handler, and water has gotten into the duct because it flooded in here. There's actually a watermark. You can't see it on this side, but it flooded all the way above this, and the water got into the system. So basically we've dug a trench that goes all the way back, and we're going to lay our footer pipe down through there to help collect that water, and it'll come around this air handler right here, and it'll go around to the sump pump on the other side. Okay, so you can see our footer pipe, and again it's well below the duct. It runs all the way back, all the way around, and you can see that they tried to dig a trench, and you can see it's right up to the top. This is a big duct. This is I guess an 18-inch duct, and it's tight. Luckily it's squeezable, but we've got our footer pipe installed. We're not going to put gravel around it because it doesn't need it, and we're just trying to collect the water, and it's going to come all the way around, and you can see where there's that drip over there. And it'll come across this little trench over here and come into the footer, or the pipe, and it'll turn and go around. I just got to cut it off over there, but it's looking really good. So again, a great do-it-yourself project. Granted, it's a tough little spot, but it can be done. The alternative is to, the alternative to digging in this tiny crawl space is to tear out that entire floor above me. And I mean, that's just tens of thousands to do that. There's a kitchen above me. You can see the water lines and the sink line and things like that. Cabinets all have to come out. Major work. So yeah, this is a much more cost-effective way of dealing with the problem. Here's our footer pipe. Here's my hacksaw, and I'm going to cut this off and stuff it through that hole I drilled. It's a 4-inch hole. I hope it's pretty tight. Just got to get the right amount of pipe in here. I think somewhere in here should do it. Get this fabric off of here. Push our camera back up a little bit. Then what I'm going to do is slice the end of this pipe 4 or 6 inches. Then I'm going to squeeze it together, and I'm going to slide it into the hole that I drilled earlier. Maybe. There's really no room here at all, but we'll get it. Oh yeah, nice. And I'll show you that here. So you can see the footer pipe comes into the pit, and again, we need to install our pump. It should arrive tomorrow, and you can see how it runs back, again, all the way back. I showed you that earlier. We'll probably do a little bit of digging right there on this corner. It's a little bit high, but other than that, it's looking really good. So there's our check valve, and I've got it laying in the box. You notice we've got an extremely long extension cord on here, or power cord, 50 footer, because electrician can't get back here. So we've got to bring this all the way to the outside wall where it can go into an outlet. So the pump's sitting in the box. This is a Zoller M53, and now I'm going to go ahead and put it over in the sump basin over there. We'll plumb the riser up. It'll tie into this discharge that I already hung, and that pump will be ready to go. I don't know if I can keep the camera over there because it's just so tight. There's no room at all, but we're going to give it a try. So I'm pushing the box. Remember, that pump weighs about 30 pounds altogether, and I'm just pushing it over closer to the sump basin. to get stuck down in the dirt makes it real difficult. But we've almost got this. And I'm ready to pull it out of the box, which I'm going to do right now. But I got to put the camera down. And again, you might not get all the video that I'd like to get, but I think you got the idea. Okay, so there's the sump pit and the pump, and you can see the check valve. It comes up right over there. Get a little closer. Now I'm going to put a little riser on it and a 90, and it's going to come over and tie into this line right here. Real difficult to cut down here, but again, you know, just take your time and realize that you're almost done. So close. And once we plumb this and plug it in, it's going to take this water right out of here. So we're pulling this moisture barrier underneath of this crawl space. You can see there's the joist height. And it's difficult because we're on top of the moisture barrier, so it's getting dirty, but that doesn't hurt anything. The problem that they have is they got these old ducts down here. There's no way for us to take them out through the crawl space opening. So we've got to get them underneath of that to lay our plastic down. So we're basically taking everything out, and a few more pieces of plastic. You can kind of see what that looks like there behind Joe's feet. It's pretty tight. His foot's just hitting that joist. Of course, he wears 15 or something like that, but it can't be more than 11 or 12 inches in here, 12 inches. We're just barely able to fit under here. But we've almost got this, and we got the pump installed. Everything's ready to go. We're just putting some moisture barrier down to help keep some of that from rising up into those joists, and we're all set. So you can see it's dark, it's dingy, it's tight. My head's right up into the joist. I'm laying on the trench. But hey, you know what? This job's over, and what a great feeling of satisfaction of completing this task. This was not an easy task. So, hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.